Alright folks, we are in Girdwood, Alaska. I'm headed to Seward today, and I'm going to give you a glimpse of the ride along the way, because Girdwood 1 is a really cool town, and maybe I'll just do a quick drive down the town because it's so small and easy for you to see. But actually, let me switch this around so you can see me. Cool. And we're going to drive through Girdwood, just a quick drive, and hopefully the bandwidth will be good enough for us to see Turnagain Arm. It's beautiful. I did see some construction. I haven't driven to Seward in a while, so I don't know if it's going to be non-stop construction along the way. If it is, then this might be a really bad feed. But if not, it's going to be a beautiful drive. It's sunny, it's warm. It's a great day to be in Alaska. Anyway, I'm going to be backing up here. Like I said, I'm in a park in Girdwood. Girdwood is a really small town about 30 miles outside of Anchorage. It's a ski town. It's really popular with tourists, but unfortunately with COVID happening across the country, everybody's season is greatly diminished, to say the least. So, hey, this is one way for you to see Alaska while we're driving here. I got this thing hanging in the way. Just notice that. Let me get that out of the way. Cool, so I'm going to turn this camera around here, and you're going to see, you'll probably hear my dog barking a lot. She likes to bark at anybody we pass, but yeah, let's turn this camera around. This is Girdwood, and you don't have to watch me. Watch the scenery here. One thing with this drive too is as we go down Turnagain Arm, it's about a half-hour drive before we'll probably completely lose bandwidth. But hopefully for this part of the drive, the first half hour, you'll be able to see some really cool scenery as you're about to see here. So, I kind of have the camera pointed off to the right a little bit, as you probably can tell, so you'll get to see either side of the street. But when we get to Turnagain Arm, you're going to be looking right at the ocean. And again, that's only 5 minutes away. But I just drive through. This is Girdwood. This is it's about 1,000 feet of Main Street here. Typically in the summer, this is packed with tourists and buses, and just really crowded. And I bet some of the locals are pretty thankful in some ways that it's not that way now. But I bet also quite a few people are struggling because this is their main source of income. This season is just huge for them. Nice little coffee shop there. Holy cow. Grind, great coffee. Great coffee. Well, that's pretty much it. We're going to turn around and you get to see the other side of the street. So I'm just going to do a quick U-turn here. Because now it's getting a little more residential area here. Alright. Now I know when we get to the main highway, right now it's the Alaska highway up here we're going to turn onto, but then we're going to hop on to the main highway that connects Anchorage to Seward and all those. And that highway does have a lot of construction. I know we're going to hit construction right away, but anyway, there's the post office. Health clinic, the ski lodge here, that kind of gray blue building with the red roof there. And the local mercantile store. Red one here. Alright, so far it says the stream's doing well. Unfortunately, I only have one camera set up. I didn't even put a good mic in just because I don't need all these wires. I'm doing my own little travel now. Yeah, so my truck's just full of gear. Car camping with 2 dogs and a mobile live stream studio. I may adjust that camera when I get to the stop here because it's not really showing where we're going. It's showing a little too much of the side, so that'll be fixed here in a second. We are just a half mile away from Turnagain Arm. Like I said, this little hop on the main highway, there's definitely some road construction going on, so that's going to be tedious and trafficy. Still though, good scenery. Turnagain Arm is beautiful. When the high tide comes in, it comes in like in Alaska. We have really big tides, 20-foot tides. When the tide comes in, it just fills up the whole inlet. When it goes out, it's just a big mud flat. Now, right now, I think it's high tide. Thereabouts, it might be heavy. So there should be plenty of water in the inlet. And of course, it's surrounded by these beautiful mountains. I'll get a better view of here in a second. We are just leaving Girdwood, Alaska, and headed towards Seward. Just taking a nice drive. I'm shooting with my iPhone, so it doesn't give you the best depth of field, but there's some pretty damn beautiful mountains in front of us. Stop here and adjust this camera. I don't want to be trying to adjust it while driving. That sounds like just sounds dangerous, doesn't it? So I'm going to pull in this little sort over here. Get this thing adjusted the way I want it. And there is Turnagain Arm in front of us, folks. Make sure I have enough gas. I got half a tank. I'm going to have to stop at one point. The price of gas in Alaska. If anyone's interested. $2.53. Oh, it's diesel. $2.55. Huh? It's about the same. Alright, before I hop on this highway, let me adjust this camera real quick. There's Turnagain Arm. Oh, it's beautiful down there. Adjusted too much during this drive. Alright. Level. Here's hoping for good bandwidth. Every so often I might just turn the audio off on this because I will be probably listening to music, and YouTube tends to block videos that play copyrighted music, so if I turn on my radio, I may turn this off. Hopefully the stream quality is good. If anybody's commenting or anything like that, I really can't comment back to you while I'm driving. Alaska for anyone that's just joining, and headed towards Seward, Alaska. To the right of us, this big bay of water is Turnagain Arm. This is an inlet. High tide, usually the low tide, these are all mud flats to the right here. If anyone's wondering what the name of any of these mountains are, I have no idea. I'm not sure if many of them are named actually. That is a cool looking flat top one over there on the right. It's actually been about 20 years since I've driven this. I live in Fairbanks, so that's pretty in front of us. And Fairbanks is 300, 400 miles north of here, interior of Alaska. This part we're in south and central. It's Anchorage, Seward, Girdwood, Homer, those are all south and central Alaska. You have western Alaska and you have southeast Alaska. Kind of the regions. They're not official. I guess they kind of are. It's nice if this were a normal tourist season, having COVID virus going on, pandemic, this road would be just packed with buses and campers, and locals definitely are traveling it, so, but this is a weekday, and there's a pandemic, so I guess I consider myself fortunate. They're doing all this road work here because it gets so crowded and so backed up. You can imagine an RV with 20 cars behind it. So to the right there, they're probably making a passing lane and things like that. Just because the traffic really backs up along these ways. Speaking of which, I'm probably backing up traffic because I'm driving slow. left side, there's a railroad track here. The Alaska Railroad goes through here. Actually has a glass top. The tourist one has a glass top cabin cars for people, so that you can see all the scenery as you drive it. Left up here a little bit into the inlet more. Hopefully I zoom that in enough you can see some of these distance mountains that have glaciers on them. One's going to come into view here in a second. But no, I'm not a good tour guide because I don't know the name of the glacier, but August is probably, I don't know what the temperature is here in Alaska. Some people always ask that question. Some people think it snows year round here too, but it doesn't, obviously. It's 58 degrees, and it was about 11 a.m. Just going to switch this a little bit. Driving, but just joined us, you are driving in Alaska right now. We are driving from Girdwood, Alaska. I'm actually headed to Seward. There's no way that we're going to have enough bandwidth in Seward to get me there for you to get to watch this. I'm actually going to be surprised if we're still broadcasting now.